The Culling Game isn't just a battle royale. It's Gege Akutami's way of throwing the power scaling of Jujutsu Kaisen into a blender. With the anime ongoing, we can finally look at these fights not just as spectacles, but as the moments that define the new era of sorcery. Kenjaku's plan was never about simple violence. It was about forced evolution. By awakening modern civilians and reincarnating Heian-era monsters, he created a meat grinder designed to optimize cursed energy. Today, we're doing a chronological deep dive into the first 4 major fighting sequences of the manga, analyzing every technique and tactical shift that set the stage for the carnage to come. The Culling Game begins in Tokyo Colony Number 1, with Yuji Itadori versus Hanyu and Haba. This sequence serves as the technical baseline for awakened sorcerers. Hanyu and Haba are modern humans whose techniques are literal, almost cartoonish manifestations of flight. Hanyu's jet hair provides rear-mounted propulsion, while Haba's propeller hair acts as a high-frequency blade capable of shredding reinforced concrete. The choreography here highlights Yuji's post-Shibuya physical ceiling. Despite having no cursed technique of his own at this point, Yuji demonstrates that his body forged as a vessel for Sukuna possesses a natural durability that ignores Haba's propeller output. He doesn't counterattack with sorcery. He uses the sheer kinetic force of a leaping strike from a skyscraper. The deep analysis of this fight shows that modern sorcerers rely too heavily on the gimmick of their technique, whereas Yuji has mastered the fundamentals of cursed energy reinforcement to the point where he can dismantle flight-based opponents through environmental awareness alone. He treats the urban landscape as a weapon, proving that raw output and refined movement can overcome specialized biological weaponry. Moving chronologically to Megumi Fushiguro versus Remy and the Reggie Star Group, the fight shifts from a simple duel to a tactical ambush. This sequence introduces the combat efficiency required to survive the game. Iori Hazunoki is the standout threat here, utilizing a technique that turns body parts into grenades. The analysis of Hazunoki's style reveals a frightening loop. He uses reverse curse technique not just to survive, but as an offensive battery, tearing out his own teeth and eyes to create high-yield explosions, then instantly regenerating them to fire again. Megumi is forced into a defensive masterpiece, utilizing Nue for aerial reconnaissance and Max Elephant to alter the structural integrity of the building. This isn't a fight about power, it's about resource management. Megumi proves his growth by not overextending his cursed energy, instead using the shadows of the apartment complex to isolate his opponents. He eventually corners Chizuru Hari, proving that in a battle royale, field control and the ability to dictate the engagement range are far superior to raw explosive damage. The intensity spikes with Yuji Itadori versus Hiromi Higuruma. This is a clash between a physical monster and a legal genius. Higuruma's technique is a throwback to the Heian era, a non-lethal, rule-based domain expansion called deadly sentencing. The mechanics of this fight are entirely conceptual rather than physical. Inside the barrier, violence is prohibited by a binding vow. The Shikigami, Judge Man, acts as an omniscient prosecutor. The fight sequence is a psychological trap. Yuji is charged with the Shibuya mass murder. Because Yuji's soul accepts responsibility for Sukuna's actions, he admits guilt. This triggers confiscation, which strips Yuji of his cursed energy control. The second half of this fight is a brutal physical struggle where Yuji, purely through human grit and abnormal muscle density, holds his own against Higuruma's shifting gavel. It's a masterclass in how binding vows can equalize a fight between a veteran and a rookie. The sequence ends not with a finishing blow, but with a moral realization, as Higuruma realizes Yuji's lack of malice makes the death penalty a hollow victory. Finally, the focus shifts to Tokyo Colony Number 2, with Panda versus Hajime Kashimo. This is the most lopsided fight in the early game, and serves as a reality check for the modern era. Kashimo is a 400-year-old sorcerer who doesn't even use a named technique here. He uses the intrinsic properties of his cursed energy. His energy is electricity. Every strike Kashimo lands on Panda functions like a battery terminal, applying a positive charge. Once the potential difference peaks, Kashimo discharges a negative strike that functions as a sure-hit lightning bolt without needing a domain expansion. Panda attempts to switch between his three cores, but the analysis shows the massive gap in experience. Even Panda's sister core, revealed as a high-defense Rhino-Triceratops hybrid, is instantly vaporized because lightning ignores physical durability by striking from the inside out. Kashimo's efficiency is so high that he treats a Grade 1 sorcerer like Panda as a mere grounding wire, ending the fight with a single, unblockable discharge that reduces the mascot to a severed head. That concludes the first 4 major fighting sequences of the Culling Game. We've seen the literal nature of modern techniques and the terrifying, fundamental efficiency of the ancient ones. But the stakes are about to get much higher as the heavy hitters enter the fray. In Part 2, we're heading to the Sendai colony to witness the legendary 3-way deadlock and the most high-stakes gamble in the entire series.